So Maureen, do you remember when you were the next big thing?
When I was the next big thing.
Yes,
I'm
hold
not,
on.
am I not? Am I not? I know what you mean. I remember when I was when everything was coming together. It happened at certain points in my career, but I remember the first time realizing, wow, I might actually be on the precipice of being famous. And yeah, it happened several times. It's very exciting. It's very stressful. But you were a big thing, and I'm not saying you
Very,
were a
very
big.
large. Yeah.
Oh my God, Wendy Vesley, you're a legend. Do you remember when you?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Do you
I don't know.
remember?
You were a pretty big thing. For me, I remember being young. I remember being interviewed a lot, having my picture taken a lot, being gossiped about a lot,
Yeah.
which was mostly bad, but whatever. I remember CBC getting me to do some really stupid reality shows that were not me. And I was like, I'm a very serious journalist. This is really getting in the way, which I look back now and it's in retrospect, it's so ridiculous. I should have just enjoyed being young
Enjoyed it.
and being
Yeah.
in demand,
Yeah.
we still are, of course.
Hugely. But here's here's a story. So a few months ago, we put Mary Berg on our list of people we wanted to have on the podcast. Now, in case you don't know, Mary is a cook. She's actually a chef. She's the winner of the third season of MasterChef, in fact.
Which is kind of a big deal. And she's
Yeah.
also she's hosted 2 television cooking shows. Um, Mary's Kitchen Crush, Mary Makes It Easy. Mary's in a lot of names, but she's not a trained chef.
This is interesting. She has a master's in IT and information technology, and she worked as an insurance broker before quitting that to compete on MasterChef. But do you remember what I said when we decided we were going to try to get her on the show?
That she's adorable and everybody loves her.
Yeah, I did say that. I also said that Mary Berg is the next big thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Wasn't that from your hairdresser or something?
Well, yes, it was, but they always know, and it turns out he was right. Mary was recently announced as the host of a new national TV show called The Good Stuff with Mary Berg. It's a daily talk show that will launch on CTV in the fall.
Yeah, so she's going to take over the time slot that was taken by Marilyn Denis.
Mhm.
She is a legend. She's still on radio. That makes Mary
The
the
next
next big
big
thing.
thing. So this is a really exciting time. We're so happy to have Mary here to talk about it. Mary, come out wherever you are.
Hello.
Hey, hey, Mary, how are you?
Congratulations.
You're
Hi,
out in the
thank you.
kitchen.
I know. There is a kitchen technically over there, but it's not my kitchen. We just wrapped the third season of Mary Makes It Easy, 25 episodes. So I'm sleepy. But we don't actually live in the house while we're filming because
Wow.
production takes up every square inch of my home and property. And it is wonderful, but it's also, we just can't sleep there. So we usually stay somewhere else.
Okay. Where to start? You were on the precipice. First of all, of being busier than you've ever been in your entire life.
Yeah, it's intimidating and terrifying and exciting and pretty much all the things you should feel when you're going into something that you care about. I think I really like working on things that I deeply care about, and I'm very honored and lucky that I get to do that. So diving into this daytime daily show in a slot that is so well known, because I mean, Marilyn Denis had that slot she did daytime television for 34 years, is incredibly intimidating and very exciting. So I'm excited to take this next step and this leap, and fingers crossed it goes well. Am I allowed to say not a swear word, but like a
yes, you
Oh
can.
no, we don't have any swear words on this show.
You can say whatever you want on
Okay. I'm a full asser. I'm not a half asser, and I'm very excited to full ass this show. Yeah.
Well, we had a full asser on the show. We had Marilyn Denis on the show, and we
Yeah.
booked you. Like we just thought you were kind of cool, and we booked you. And now it's announced that you're gonna be in her time slot. You're kind of like the new Marilyn.
Also, and that's I actually spoke to Marilyn just a couple days ago, and of course your name came up, and she could not be more delighted. So, and it's really important to, I've taken over, I've filled big shoes before, and I think it really is important to have that passing of the torch, if it will. I mean, you're completely different from Marilyn, but it's a lifestyle show at the same time, so there will be comparisons.
100%. And I think with Marilyn, I was on the Marilyn Denis show a number of times.
Yeah.
I was a cooking expert on that show. And like, as you know, if you know Marilyn, she's like the same person she is both on and off camera. And she's one of the most supportive and like generous people in this industry. And I think it's really saying something, because I think it's very easy in this industry, as really anybody, but as being a woman or anything like that, it's easy to not. A lot of things try to convince you to not be generous. A lot of things try to convince you that everybody's your competition and everything's a competition. And never has Marilyn ever conveyed anything like that. She is such a pro and so giving with her information, with her knowledge, with her learned experiences, that it just feels like I've got the best kind of person who's luckily still in the building, because she's just across the bridge.
Yeah, she's doing radio now, right?
Yes,
exactly.
Just radio. Yeah,
she's just radio, so I can like literally hop, skip, and a jump if I need any advice or anything. So it's really amazing and really exciting.
So do you know other stuff like thread counts and like we know all about the kitchen, but
other stuff?
Yeah, it's like the good stuff or whatever with Mary Berg, right? So we know the kitchen, but beyond the kitchen, like Marilyn knew all this. So are you excited about sheets?
Do you know the bedroom, Mary? Do you know
Listen, oh my God. I am like a lifelong trier and learner. You talked about my schooling, and I basically continued doing school because I liked learning. I wasn't necessarily I didn't have aspirations to go into like information or anything like that. But I just always loved learning, and I'm really excited to kind of continue that with the good stuff, because I think like having people in who are passionate about something, even if I have very little inclination towards it when they first enter, is like my dream. I love talking to people who are fascinated by something very niche or specific, whether it's gardening or crafting or thread count or how to fold a fitted sheet, which I think eludes every human person.
Seriously? And they're different. Each fitted sheet is different.
Do you know what makes me... Oh,
go.
The thing that makes me so mad is when you buy the sheets and they come perfectly folded in that little rectangle cube, and then you try to do it, and never, ever again will it be that shape or size.
No, you can Marie Kondo the hell out of it, and it looks like a misshapen loaf of bread. I hear you. It's one of the great mysteries of life, and an important one, because we all have to fold fitted sheets.
100%.
But we really want to talk about your glasses.
Oh.
We don't. We were planning on doing the whole thing without mentioning the glasses.
Well,
and then we ended up talking about glasses, and Maureen is like, she's wearing glasses.
Well,
now.
I'm wearing readers. I'm wearing readers because okay. So it's a trademark, and I think that's cool. I think that who was it? Was Sally Jesse Raphael, a talk show host in the 80s? She was known for her red glasses.
Thank you for not comparing me to Dame Edna. I usually feel like which not the worst icon, but yeah.
No, but it's now become synonymous. Like you're kind of now with your hair, your beautiful hair, but the bangs of the glasses, that's your own avatar. Any regrets? Because you're going to be going with this for a while.
I know. I'm honestly, I don't love my forehead, so the bangs are more of a life commitment for me in general. I tried the no bang thing for a while. Not my best time. And the glasses, that's the only prescription that I have that actually is deemed kind of cool. Like no one thinks it's cool if I bust out my puffer or anything like that. So I'm okay with it. Also, the idea of eye surgery, good for anybody who wants to get it. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I was
telling you. So, oh yeah, go ahead with your glasses.
No, I was going to say the glasses. So I didn't know, like I'm blind as a bat, and I wasn't diagnosed until I was like 12 or 13. And then my mother got me horrible horn rim glasses, which at the time were not cool.
Mhm.
And so I finally figured out I got contact lenses, but before I did, I had astigmatism, so I couldn't wear contacts. So when I was in university, boys don't make passes at
Like
girls.
girls who wear glasses. Oh,
Right?
That old line. Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
I would wear my glasses in class, and then I would whip them off to walk to my next class, and so that I would not look like a girl with glasses. And as it turns out, there'd be all these cute boys who'd be like, "Hi, Mo," and I wouldn't see them or acknowledge them. So I got this reputation of being a terrible snob. So yeah, and then I got contact lenses, and then everyone fell down and adored me for the rest of my life. So that's my experience.
Really? It's that simple. Oh.
Honestly, I think it's like a very Clark Kentian dating strategy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, now they're cool. Now I know people who don't need glasses who wear glasses.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of people. There are both of those things you mentioned. There are some people on the internet who are really convinced that this is a wig and that these are fake. And neither of those are true. I was born with too much hair, which is not a problem. But if I don't actually style it, it is. I kind of look like you know the girls in the Dilbert cartoons, like all their hair is straight. That's kind of the look. It's
very
not
geometric but curly.
Yes.
Yeah.
very triangular. It somehow keeps getting bigger. It's on a day like today, humidity out the wazoo, I would be at a loss. But no, I've worn glasses since I was about, I think I was in grade 1 when I got my first pair of glasses, but I always wanted glasses. So I think I might have cheated on that initial optometry exam and then have resigned myself to a life of glasses by ruining my eyes by wearing unnecessary glasses. And but when I was a kid, I had Harry Potter glasses before Harry Potter existed and a mushroom cut. So I've been bangs for life. And my mom dressed me in sweater sets and kilts. Very cute now, but all I wanted was like the big flowery couch dresses that little girls wore when I was a kid. So I've always been...
I have a daughter, and she doesn't have as much hair as you, but I have a large forehead, and I like the bangs idea, and so I would cut her hair, but she had like a mushroom cut that just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger because there would like be these strands, and so like how do you know when to stop? Because she ended up with like bangs around the back of her head.
Oh, that was especially during like peak 2020, 2021, where hair salons weren't really a thing and everything like that. I started looking like a Ramon, like because I didn't want to go too far. So my bangs kind of were doing like this around my face, which was like not the best look. But I very rarely will cut my own bangs. But when I do, it's often at the worst possible time. I'll be like, I got to be on TV tomorrow. Yeah. I've had a glass of wine. Let's cut my bangs. Hopefully I haven't done that yet.
You're going to be in hair and makeup for the good part of your life moving forward. And that's all part of it. Now, I want to, first of all, it is crazy when you think about it that you went to school and studied IT and was an insurance broker. I mean, that's not the path to what you're going to be doing now or what you are doing now. But I don't know if a lot of people realize you came to cooking in a really, in a sad way. A bad thing happened. Tell us about that.
Yeah. When I was 4, I was in a car accident with my family. And my mom was really injured. My brother got a really bad head injury and my dad passed away. And it was one of those things that happened, obviously. It shapes who you are. But I've always been someone, I like to try to figure out how to help. And so pretty early on when I turned about, my mom is an amazing mom and she can fold a fitted sheet. She is amazing at like laundry and she started her own business and she was an entrepreneur and did so many amazing things. But the thing she hated the most, and I saw it, she hated cooking. And after my dad passed away, I watched the like sigh of relief come over her when neighbors or friends would bring over literal like laundry baskets of things to put in the freezer, casseroles or prepared things to pop in the fridge to heat up that night, just in the microwave or in the oven. And it kind of clicked in with me that like taking taking something off someone's plate by putting it on to their plate is such a great way to very subtly say that you care about them and to show them that you really want them to have just an okay day. So I really quickly kind of started taking over the kitchen. I think it was about 7 when I started kind of really getting into there. When I was 4, I started doing things like breakfast in bed for my mom, but I wasn't old enough to pour milk yet. So it would be like some water.
Yum, yum,
No
yum.
toaster. Yeah, it was very bare bones.
So you're a little better on MasterChef, I think.
I think
She can pour milk.
A thing or two from them. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. I wish, you know, so your mom must be so proud of you. It would be nice if your dad could see you too.
Oh, she's in her PJs right now. So my mom, she lives with us. We have an in-law suite when we're in our normal house. So when we move out, she moves out with us and stuff. But she loves staying in her pajamas every into the day. So yeah.
What? She's earned that right. I would be in my pajamas until, you know, dinner time.
Oh yeah.
But then I would change. Just so you know, I have standards.
As long as you change once in the day, you're fine.
What was the first thing? So my parents, both my parents are gone now, but they had a fractious marriage, and my father and mother were separating all the time. And anyway, I'm the eldest of 4. To make a long story short, I ended up taking over the kitchen when I was home during the summer. I was in boarding school in the winter. So I have a complicated back life. The thing that I made, the first thing I learned to make, and I made it every night for an entire summer, was a tuna casserole. Because it's what you always have, right?
I love a tuna casserole.
I can tell you right now, it was a can of Campbell's mushroom soup, celery, noodles, and a can of tuna and some mayonnaise, and then grated cheese and crackers on top.
Perfection.
You're welcome.
That is like recipe perfection. Like don't muck with it if it's not broken. Oh my gosh, delicious.
So that's like, so what was your standard dish when you were younger, when you were first starting out in the kitchen?
I mean, I think I rival you in terms of like pantry grab and go. We did this one thing. Ooh, it was very, I think, Weight Watchers friendly thing too, because that was a big thing in that when I was growing up and stuff like that. So it was a chicken breast that you'd sear, and then you get a bottle of low-fat Italian dressing, the no-name brand, not the good brand. And then you would just dump it into the pan and let it cook down into a sauce. It actually was delicious, but that was like Italian chicken. That was multiple nights a week would happen. I loved making crepes, which was very strange. I went through like a serious crepe phase where I would put anything in a crepe and we'd eat it. Pasta, anything in a crepe. Put it in a crepe and it's going to be
hot
good.
Dogs, right?
Yeah, hot dog crepe. Delicious. Yeah.
See, Wendy, even you could do this.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think my mom had like 4, she worked full time and she wasn't really into cooking. And so I wasn't into cooking, and, you know, raw women don't cook. And now it's great. Like women can do whatever the hell they want, and they can love their moms and they can love cooking. But my mom had like 4 meals. I think it was Salisbury steak and those frozen.
What is that? What is Salisbury steak?
It's a hamburger. It's a hamburger with mushrooms on it. Yeah. It's a hamburger without a bun.
It was awful. So I don't cook, but thank God my husband likes to do the grocery shopping and the cooking, and he fills up all the melons and everything. So it's, you know, whatever gets you off.
And
Maureen is a great cook. What?
Okay, but wait, did your Liam fills up all the melons?
He fills them up. Yeah, he goes to the grocery store and he like grabs them.
Yeah. He fills up the melons. I thought he filled them up.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird, but yeah, he really, like, going to a market for 2 or 3 hours. It's like, I look in the fridge and I go, oh, peanut butter, and he'll look in the fridge and it'll be, oh, there's this. So I'm like, you have, Mary, you have no formal training, but is it a skill? Is it like, I think that my husband has, like, he has a nose. I think there's a certain talent. It's not just learned.
Or you've got something that, what is it you call
it? Wibble. It's a wibble.
What a wibble.
Yeah. So what is that? Like, is that
So the wibble is more of a business, like.
Oh, okay.
business thing. But in the kitchen, I think, yes, there are things you can 100% learn. And there's things that some people are just inherently better at than someone else. I have one of my best friends, Renee, does not consider herself much of a cook, but anytime she makes anything, she nails it. Like, she's Mozart, I'm Salieri. Like, I try and she's just like brilliant off the hop. And I'm like, rude, but okay. But I also think I'm very type A. I like things orderly. I like things done a certain way. And in the kitchen, that's the like one place that side of my brain shuts off. If I make a bit of a mess, if I drop something, if things don't go exactly how I want them to go, that's the like one area in my life that I don't then want to walk into the lake about. Like, I'm just like, okay, this is fine. So I think for me, like, the main secret in the kitchen is just letting go, because there's only so many things that can go wrong in the kitchen, and all of them are remediable. Like, all of them you can fix with like a pizza or cereal or peanut butter. Like you can just order something, but pretty much everything else is just kind of trial and error, and letting go of the exact measurements, especially with regards to cooking, not so much baking, but letting go of exact measurements, letting go of following a recipe to a T, just kind of like going with where your gut takes you. That to me is like my main secret in the kitchen. It's just the only place that this shuts off a little bit, and that's what works for me.
This is going back to MasterChef, but it could apply to anything really, because you're embarking on a whole new adventure now as well, where you'll have to bring skills that you have to develop to the table, literally. Yeah. Have you ever, like, when you were on MasterChef and you were competing against people who went to culinary school and who have, pedigrees, were you ever criticized? Were you ever intimidated? Were you ever unsure of yourself, or did you just say, I got this, brazen it up?
Every single time I walked into that kitchen, every single time. So you walk in, it's a set. So the back of it's all plywood, and you're like, okay, here we go. And you go in the doors, and as soon as I'd walk in, I'd be like, I don't even know how to boil water. How's this gonna go? Like, I brain fall out. But to be honest, that's when I do my best work in the kitchen, is when my whole brain has just fallen out my butt and I'm ready to go. So I think just being able to let go in that kitchen was great. And being so distracted by the amount of stuff going on, the amount of stuff that goes into a production, I was not prepared for, and I found it fascinating. So I always felt like there were other things happening, which made me feel like I could kind of fall into the background and just cook. But to be honest, when I started to overthink, when I started to question myself, when I started to try to cook for what I thought other people wanted me to do, whether it was being kind of trendy or listening too hard to what the judge said to someone else's dish and trying to apply that to my own dish, that's when I tripped up. It was when I overanalyzed and overthought things, which to me was like a huge, I was 25 on MasterChef, which is like a baby. And I learned a lot in that kitchen, learned a lot about letting go and just letting things happen and letting the chips fall where they may, and just try your best. And whatever happens after happens. If you tried your best and you had a good time, it's all good. So I was intimidated for sure, but I tried really hard to just let that fall up by the wayside and just go with the fact that I technically, if you asked me for instructions on how to boil water, I wouldn't be able to give them to you, kind of thing.
It's remarkable. It really is. It's just like almost savant cooking.
Yeah,
and you suffered from anxiety too. It was a way of dealing with that. Like, I'm in the kitchen, I'm busy, I'm in control.
I've had anxiety issues all my life, and that's one of the reasons why I like cooking. I like being in a kitchen.
You get to make something. You do still get that level of control, but it's not. I find in the kitchen there's just less things prescribing control. Like, yes, there's a recipe. Yes, there's things you should listen to. And yes, there's like do's and don'ts. But I find in the kitchen, like, I'm the boss, and I don't question that. And it's like, everything's going to be fine. I've got this under control. And I think that's, for me, the reason why I love doing it. And it is definitely a huge anxiety release for me.
So you're the boss. I would like you to resolve an issue between my husband, the cook, and me, the eater.
Yes.
I I don't know whether it's my mother. It's probably because I spend a lot of time in Quebec, where butter, hint hint, butter is a big thing. My husband, I think he thinks he's from somewhere else because it's like olive oil. So what's better, olive oil or butter?
So I love both.
Uh-oh.
I personally I find you can do more things with butter. Because butter is like, obviously, yes, you can bake with olive oil and things like that. But I love butter because it can melt. You can obviously use it as something to pour other vegetables and toss and cook. Butter does burn quicker. It burns, and olive oil doesn't burn because there's milk fat solids. So if
Oh.
you're using like ghee or clarified butter, that won't burn. So that's great. I think if I were to have to choose one, I would choose butter.
Yay! Yay! I'm going to call him right now.
The structure of butter, like what it does, how it creates the golden brown. It gives you really nice golden brown because the butter itself actually also turns golden brown. It also creates it's a medium that things can be suspended in, as opposed to oil, which isn't really.
Yeah.
So for
Oh,
baking
yeah,
and stuff, you can
down.
get air in it.
Boo, oil.
You can't really with oil.
Boo.
You have a lovely husband whom you love.
I do.
As you mentioned him, and there's pictures of him, and so he's an engineer or something, isn't he? What does he do?
He works in architecture, so he does. Yeah, he's a BIM specialist, building information modeling.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Specialist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I look at his computer screen, I'm like, I don't understand.
I don't understand. No, my husband's an engineer, and I don't know what he does.
No.
But this is going to be. I mean, you guys have been together for a while. This is you're going to be swallowed. You know this by this machine. That's because It's not just the daily show. You're going to continue with the cooking shows. You're still putting out cookbooks. Mm-hmm. You're finding time to talk to people like us. Are you guys prepared for this? So you know this is your life's going to be a roller coaster, even more so.
I do, and I think we are. I'm like, I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am. I have a really a distinct line between I'm very open, I'm very public, everything like that. But then I have a very distinct line, and this side over here, the private side, is really special. And the fact that Aaron, my husband, gets to be part of so much of my public life as well, I think really, really helps, because he is inherently part of it, which is great. When we first met, he played in bands. He toured across the country, and he played in band. He was a drummer and did all that stuff. So he kind of had the time where his life was constantly taking him on the road. He also used to work in theater, so he was working crazy hours and everything like that. Whereas I was kind of the steady Eddie, and we did a little bit of a switch when this whole stuff happened. So I think we've kind of had both sides of it, and fulfilled both sides of kind of that duality in a relationship. So I think we're good. We are very good at talking. It's taken years to get, because he was not much of a talker, and I'm someone who you can't get mad at someone if they can't read your mind. No one can, even no matter how well you know someone, no matter how closely you live with someone, they don't know what you're thinking. So I'm pretty open. Some mornings I'll just wake up and I'll be like, not today. Nope. And we give him a heads up, and then he knows. And then he's not going to question when I'm snarking or whatever. And I think that's really kind of key. But he's such a key. I don't want to say rock, because everybody says that, but he's really the thing that kind of amazing sounding board, great recipe. Well, he's actually a terrible recipe tester, because he just likes everything. Which
he just likes everything. I know. Same.
Rude. Yeah.
Well, I've been married for 30 years. Maureen's been married for more
almost
than that.
38
and we're
years.
we're still figuring it out. So so good luck. I mean, maybe there are these magic couples that the moment they see each other, everything is clear and nothing ever changes. But I don't know. I don't. The older I am, the more I'm realizing that's not true. So you guys will figure it out. So I have one.
I think you are figuring it out.
There's one more really, really big thing I need you to solve a family dispute.
Yes.
So it's how much, when you put alcohol in something and you're cooking with alcohol, how much alcohol is left? Like, can you get drunk on the alcohol that is in the cooking? No.
You'd have to eat a lot of it. And I think the food would counteract the alcohol. Like, I think, but when you put alcohol in food, not all of it does evaporate. Not all of it cooks off. Not all of it evaporates. Like, alcohol in cooking is interesting because it's because it's alcohol and it evaporates. So if you open a bottle of gin and just left it open for 8 years, most of the alcohol would evaporate from that. You know what I mean? So when you're cooking with it, the evaporation's happening, but then also the heat cooks off some stuff and burns it off. But there's always going to be a little bit left. I don't think you can get drunk unless you're adding like that vodka to that vodka sauce at the tail end.
So will you have alcohol? We had a guest on, Stephen Marsh, who used to be on a panel that I was on, and we had alcohol, which was very much against CBC rules that you would ever have alcohol on television. But will you have alcohol? Well, you're a daytime show, so.
So?
I love a wine. You know. I love a glass of wine. I love a wine. I love a
gin. White for breakfast, rosé for lunch, red for dinner. I mean, come on.
I'm a chilled red. This is
a chilled red. So like white, you like Pinots or like a lighter
chilled thin red. I call them a summer red. Delish. Yeah. And then in the winter, I love like a thick buttery chard. That's nice. Yeah.
Okay, I got one more question. What are you having for dinner tonight?
Oh gosh. So we're what I call in like apocalypse meal mode, because we're moving out of this house back into our old house. So to stave off having to bring a bunch of groceries home, we're just like bare minimum. What do we have in the fridge? How do we eat this up? So raiding the pantry, kind of.
Yeah.
Peanut butter?
We don't. Tuna casserole?
I mean, honestly, we do have 1 can of tuna and macaroni noodles. So I might try
foods.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure you get that mushroom soup, that glutinous. That's really important that you have that as well.
Gloopy is one of my favorite words in the kitchen. Some things are just gloopy, and it sounds bad, but it is.
But they're absolutely. Mary, I don't have the details on Good Stuff with Mary Berg. When does it start?
So we're going into pre-production's already happening now. Going into rehearsals in August. It'll be premiering in September.
All right. We're going to coincide this. We're going to make sure that we put this out around the same time because everything will be coming up Mary. It'll be Mary Berg month.
That's amazing. I know. And then in October, my next cookbook's coming out. And also in September, Mary Makes It Easy 3rd season that we just wrapped is coming out. So it's going to be.
So all the books sound easy, but your life is going to be very, very full. So I'm glad that you think you have limits. We'll see.
We'll see, and we're really glad you found the time to talk to us. You are adorable, and everybody does love you, and you are the next big thing, whether you realize it or not. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I love working hard on the things that I do, and I'm thrilled. And I know the daily show is daily, but hours are slightly less than Mary Makes It Easy is like 4 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So I feel like I just did 3 months of that. So I'm like, okay, I can sleep in a little, which is kind of
nice.
Yeah,
we'll see how easy Mary makes it.
I know.
We've loved talking to you, Mary. So we're going to let you go, but all the best. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really had a great time. You both are just lovely. I'm excited that I got to solve the butter all of the debate.
I'm going to call him right now.
Yeah, let him know. He'll be like, I hate that Mary Berg.
And he'll be the only one. Well, what did I tell you? She's adorable and everybody loves her. She's the next thing. Yeah, you can see why. You can see absolutely why she's going to be hugely successful. I would be shocked if she wasn't.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like she's building the kitchen. She's got a supportive husband. She loves what she's doing. So it all sounds great, and it probably will be great. I'm sure it'll be a lot harder work than she thinks, or maybe she's one of those people that can just, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it. So
there was a time.
I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure she will. There was the busiest time in my life, and I was doing mornings at I can't remember what station. It was Mix, CKFM Mix 99.9. I was doing mornings. I was doing showbiz on a show called Entertainment Tonight, and then I got a comedy show called The Dish Show, and I was doing all three at once.
Wow.
And so the day would start at 4 a.m, and sometimes we would go to 11 at night, and it was the most fun I ever had.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing when I was in Ottawa, and for a few years afterwards, I worked 6 or 7 days a week, and I kind of thought that was normal. And then I had kids. Well, a kid, a kid known as kids, and life changes a little bit because it's so all consuming. But
did I mention I had a kid too? I also had a kid.
You had kids. You had two.
No, I hadn't had Ronan. This was in 1992 to put a fine point on it. But yeah, I was never busy. You know what they say, when you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, because they get it done. And there's a certain momentum that I think Mary Berg has that is carrying her through, and also being delightful and funny and breezy, and makes it easy. So
yeah, and she's got great glasses, and they're in now. You should bring back those horn rims.
But boys don't make passes at girls who make.
Isn't it seldom? Seldom.
All right, I guess I've got time for the odd pass. No.